breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty. Mornings on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Mikey Poo is out. He'll be back tomorrow. He went to the Cowboys-Saints game. John Settle is sitting in. I can't thank you enough for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
And you didn't ride your bike today?
Not today.
Okay, good.
Good. No.
First off, are you a Saints or Cowboys, or does it matter to you?
I'm now a Saints. I started out Cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah, Saints.
Did you change yesterday?
I know that Mike didn't get any sleep last night just celebrating, probably. I mean, gee. Did the Cowboys play yesterday?
They did.
Oh,
yeah, they did. Not good. Their defense, and I don't know if I can say that the Saints offense is just that good or if the Cowboys defense is just that bad. But for 2 weeks in a row, the Saints offense has just been dominating.
I know it's. I think it's puzzling everybody and on how well they have played.
And it's one of those things that in this market, it's the only game that mattered, John.
Oh, well, sure. I mean,
nobody cares about the rest of the season now. It's like the Saints won.
The Saints won, so it's over. That's right.
Yeah. I saw even our friend William Bradford. He said, it doesn't matter now. I don't care if we go 2-15. We won the game that mattered.
Playing the game that mattered. and in a big-time way. I mean, that was a beatdown. I mean, just a beatdown.
That's a butt whooping. And 44-19. And I know if you've heard, everybody has seen, and I put on my Facebook page today that Saints fans, I'm sorry for you today because you know why? Because you're going to be at work doing extra duty because the Cowboys fans are going to be calling in sick. There's going to be Cowboys fans sick all over the place.
Yeah, we'll have to check at City Hall. See,
What's the sick out call in today?
We'll have to ask the mayor that.
Is Jerry Bowman calling in sick to his job?
I bet Ursula's glad there's not a council meeting today.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. That's
because don't they have a bet? They have to wear the other jersey?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're all going to wear Saints jerseys now.
I think
Ursula Bowman in a Saints jersey?
She may call in sick.
I think she might call in sick that day. I could never see her picture her in a Saints jersey. I just couldn't.
It's going to be interesting. That's next Monday. I think Monday and Tuesday they're supposed to wear them both days.
Both days.
I'm not sure. They had a discussion about Tuesday because that's a regular meeting. And I don't know if they decided both days or not. But now what I want to know is the guy who drove off with the Dallas truck, is he a Saints fan? Or?
Oh.
And how did he get a key to that truck?
Yeah, do you leave it running? Do you leave the key in it? Most of these vehicles now that you have a push button to start, and the key, maybe it's not a city, maybe the city trucks are too old. You do put a key in the ignition. I don't know. But, they went on a high-speed chase, had to use a start. What are those strips they put out?
They did that and something else, yeah. But I know that William Daniels is probably not too happy today.
William Daniels probably a Saints fan because he came here from Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I would think so. Today he is for sure.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. There's going to be a lot of people that have been on the fence, but today they're Saints fans. Go Saints. And I'm, Derek Carr, he's a beast. He really is.
He is surprising people this year. There's no doubt about it.
Definitely did. And to go into Arlington, AT&T Stadium, in Jerry's World, and butt spank them like that, woo-wee.
Well, now, do you want to talk about how LSU kept us on the edge of our seats the whole game?
John, you know how many sausage balls were wasted during the game?
I imagine, yeah. I mean,
they were flying. The dog is just a happy camper today.
Well, they won. It's still a W, but kept everybody on the edge of their seats. I
struggle with that. I think LSU's got UCLA coming to town for Tiger Stadium this Saturday.
I think they're 0-2. We'll have to ask Fletch.
This is I think a 2:30 kickoff time, I believe. So it's an afternoon game in Tiger Stadium, which we really don't like. No. We like to drink all day and then go to the game at night
and have 100,000 people there.
Exactly.
And it never rained, so,
Yeah, we hope. Knock on, what is
yeah.
this?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, just real happy about the Saints yesterday. I like both teams, but when they're playing, I'm a Saints fan. That's where my heart is. And I know Mike's crazy happy.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
He had his birthday celebration in the stadium with his daughter, wearing his Saints gear. He even had Saints shoes on.
Oh, my God. Does he have Saints underweir? But no, let's don't ask that question.
Yeah, let's
don't go that far.
Let's not ask. Yeah. I'm sure he will tell us all about the experience when he gets back tomorrow.
Oh, he's probably reserved an hour, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm sure. He's thrilled. When we come back, I want your thoughts on the DDA. They have selected a new leader, and I want to hear your thoughts on that. We'll tell you about that when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, Mikey Poo is out. John Settle is in. John, you are the owner of Forum.
Focus SB.
Focus SB, yes.
/ The Inquisitor.
Okay, yeah. And you've owned it. How long have you owned it?
Be 5 years this fall.
Okay. And you've changed it a lot. It's a kind of a magazine.
Well, yeah, we have one side is Focus SB that is all positive local news, and a lot of it is not reported all, or it's underreported.
You bet.
And then the other side is just crime. We don't sensationalize it, but and mugshots are back now, so there's usually about 120 mugshots in there that employers like to see, and employment agencies, and just curious people. So,
do all agencies have their mugshots back, or are we still waiting on some?
It's Bossier City does it, but we're getting Bossier Parish, Caddo Parish, and Shreveport City jails.
Okay.
Bossier City Jail, they don't. Bossier doesn't cooperate that much because there's no crime in Bossier City.
Are somebody gonna have to sue them to release the mugshots? To get to that point, or
yeah, but I'm not going to spend the time doing it. But,
okay,
yeah, but
I got you. Somebody will probably do it eventually. But I wanted to talk to you about. We got the news, I guess, late Friday that former mayor and former state representative Cedric Glover was the pick to be the new director of the Downtown Development Authority. They've been hunting for somebody for 7-8 months.
Yeah, I mean January 1, the spot was open, and I'm not sure when they hired the headhunter fund, but it's headhunter firm, but it's been open since 1 Jan.
It was a little bit of a bump in the road because when the DDA did the search, 14 people applied, and then they've hired a firm, and then they had 20 applicants. Because when you, as we all know, when you hire an outside firm, you can keep the names private.
Correct.
We already had the list of names, I guess, from the earlier group, and then you added about 6 more names to that. And then the search committee narrowed it to the final 2.
Correct. The headhunter firm came up with 4 finalists.
Okay.
And then these combined committee of DSDC and the DDA, there was 5 on the search committee, 2 from DSDC and 3 from DDA, and they narrowed it down to 2, and then they selected Cedric Glover.
Now, Glover's was on the city council and represented downtown Shreveport. He was his state house seat represented that area as well. Fan, not a fan, good choice, bad choice? Are you going to expound on that? I'm sure you have written about it.
I have. It's regrettable that they only the 2 choices they had. I think it's unfortunate when you have a nationwide search, and they really didn't have very many people nationwide apply. So I wasn't real happy with the last 2 choices, and I'm not particularly happy with Cedric Glover as the DDA secretary.
What will you be watching for Mr. Glover to do? What are some things that he could surprise you and say, maybe he's going to do a good job?
Well, first of all, he can go to work regularly. I mean, his reputation, his reputation in the legislature, if you talk to other legislatures, is that work is, I consider it a good 4-letter word, but most people don't think Cedric likes to go to work. So to me, I hope he's down there 35 to 40 hours a week, because I know I'll be going by to see if he's in the office. Secondly, either people like Cedric downtown or they don't like Cedric. I mean, that's just the reality when he's been in politics as long as he has. That's just the reality. So He will probably have to, hopefully will meet with the property owners who pay the tax that funds his salary and listen to them. And after that, he's got the problems that downtown has, is not enough workers, too many empty buildings.
Now, there's a little connection to the city council and the DDA, but they don't have the authority to okay this or not. It's not up to them, right?
Correct. The city council gets to appoint people to the DDA board, and the board is several entities appoint to, but they don't get to decide on the executive director. They do have appointments to the board, just like the African American Chamber and the Greater Shreveport. But the council does not vote on the selection of Cedric Glover.
So they could not throw a wrench in this at all. Now, did the DDA board take a vote first and then decide to do a unanimous vote? Do we know if it?
I don't know. We'd have to talk to
Corbin.
Mike Corbin. I heard it was a contested kind of meeting, and I feel sure that they ended up making a unanimous vote when it was all over with. But I haven't talked to anybody, and really they shouldn't be talking to people. I mean, somebody leaked the two names on that committee, so that I don't think that's important now. We've got Cedric now. They still have to draft the contract, and I think that's going to be important, the length of the contract, compensation, performance goals, et cetera.
What do you anticipate the compensation to be? I'm not sure. I hadn't looked at the last one for Liz Swain, who left in December.
As I recall, she was making about $120, but I may be wrong. Interestingly enough, we've had two in a row. Liz did not have a college degree. I think she went 2 years, it's my understanding, 2 years to a junior college, then got into broadcasting. Liz, if I'm wrong, correct me. I hope he doesn't start out at that salary, but I have no idea what they will. But the DDA did not roll forward their ad valorem tax for this coming year, so they're at the same tax level. But I have no idea what his contract.
What could he bring to the table that could be good for downtown? Can you point out some things?
Well, presumably he could help with the legislature with the House Bill 1, capital funding for downtown. Of course, he was down there when we had a Democrat governor, and now we have a Republican governor. So he does have connections throughout the state, throughout the parish, and he is a great orator. So
play well with others in terms of the city council, the parish commission. How you think that relationship's going to be?
Well, he doesn't. I feel sure he'll address them all. The council doesn't fund him, and the commission doesn't fund him. So, but it's always good to go make a presentation to say, I'll listen to what you want to do, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, we'll have more on that throughout the morning right here, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we have a big show today. Coming up next, Louis Avallone is going to join us. I had a question about the presidential race. I'm going to ask him. And we also have Henry Whitehorn joining us after 7. Lavette Fuller is going to join us to talk about planning. They had a big meeting this weekend. And the LSU Health Chancellor is going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour.
That's big news.
Big news. But I want to share this with you real quick before we get to Louis Avallone. Surveys show that a third of American adults can't name the 3 branches of the government. A third. 30. We're going to have to ask Chica when she comes back.
That's right. Okay.
We'll ask her and just see. And then wait till you hear this. John Settle, you might fall out of your chair. John Settle is in for Mike today, by the way. 10% of college graduates, long pause for effect here, think Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court.
Oh, my.
10% of college graduates think Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court. How scary is this?
Yes, very, very.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. And a third don't know the three branches. Oh, that's frightening.
I thought that was high school.
Yeah. Civics in 8th grade.
Yeah, for sure.
Ruben, you know them, don't you? Please say yes.
Okay, so judicial, executive, legislative.
Thank God. Okay, thank God. Okay, this room's good. And
now Ruben gets to open the Oreo cookies, and we don't know what are they, red and black cookies?
Yeah, you brought Coca-Cola Oreos.
Yeah, we're going to have to try those at some point.
Know what
we're going to make Ruben do this.
Yeah, I'm the designated eater. Anytime there's anything weird, I have to eat it.
That is bizarre. I wouldn't mind trying one. We'll try one in a minute. Louis R. Avalone is going to join us next. What would happen if something happened to one of the presidential nominees between now and Election Day?
Ooh.
Who would the nominee be? We're going to answer that when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now, breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Welcome back. John Settle in for Mike Martindale today. Mike is recovering from his big celebration, his birthday celebration, with the Saints winning.
Oh, yeah, he'll claim credit for it. I think he suited up, didn't he? And maybe gave him a pep talk.
He had a blast. He was with his daughter, and he had such a good time. I'm driving in today, and I'm listening to some of the coverage of the attempted assassination yet again, apparently, on former President Trump. And I got to thinking, what if something happened to either Trump or Kamala Harris between now and Election Day? Who would the nominee be? And I thought, I don't know what the law says. I don't know what the president says.
Gosh, I don't know either. Who would know?
So we got Louis R. Avalone, host of American Ground, right here on KEEL every evening from 5 to 7, and chairman of the Caddo Parish Republican Party. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
What does the law say? What is the protocol for that? I mean, if something were to happen to either of the presidential candidates, who would the nominee then be? Who picks the nominee to be on the ballot?
Now, the DNC has some different rules, but as far as the Republican nominee for president, if he or she were to die before the election, the process for selecting a new nominee falls to the Republican National Committee. Now, there's two committee men or committee women from each state that make up that committee. And those members, along with the party chairman from each state, those members would actually select the next nominee. That's if the nominee dies before the election. If the Republican Party's president-elect dies before being sworn in as president, the Constitution and the Presidential Succession Act come into play. And according to the 20th Amendment, if the president-elect dies before inauguration, the vice president-elect would take the oath of office and become the president.
So in that case, it would be J.D. Vance. After if they're elected, J.D. Vance would then become president on Inauguration Day.
Correct.
But between now and then, J.D. Vance would not necessarily become the nominee.
That is correct.
Do the Democrats handle it similarly, or do we know how they handle it?
They do it a little differently. I think they do have they don't have the same setup, but, again, coming back to the point, you're going to have basically these representatives from each state, not the delegates. Now, if it's after the election but before the Electoral College, the members of the Electoral College would actually select the next president.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a slim window then, right, for that?
It is. And so the RNC, they have the authority to change they don't necessarily have to choose J.D. Vance, as you pointed out. But the decision still has to follow, the party rules, et cetera. So it is a very interesting scenario with respect to what may happen. And, unfortunately and sadly, with this being the second assassination attempt now in just so many months, this is something that I think the RNC certainly needs to be thinking about far more seriously, perhaps, than they ever have.
Yeah, and I thought that. I thought who is their second chair guy that could win this election? I mean, that would have to be what they thought, right? Who could beat Kamala Harris at this late stage? Who is that guy? I mean, who would you put in the top 3 for that?
You know, Aaron, right now, I really could not tell you. I don't know that it's J.D. Vance, though.
No.
I don't know that the party would rally around J.D. Vance. I think J.D. Vance is a great candidate, no doubt, but that is with President Trump as president. And anyway, it certainly it's very concerning, and this certainly is a question I know a lot of folks have asked themselves, you know, if in fact one of these assassins is successful, what is going to happen? And would they have a chance against Kamala Harris and the media, the mainstream media, which no doubt would try to tell the narrative that for stability, if God forbid anything were to happen to President Trump, but for stability and for the security of our nation, we just need to go ahead and elect Kamala and get our nation back on some sort of stable footing. And that is a nightmare scenario for obviously millions and millions of Americans.
Someone is going to now pull that comment you just made out of context, which is going to say, Louis Avallone says, we just now need to elect Kamala Harris. Do you realize what you just did?
Maybe so. You know, I'm just a plain talker. You know, I'm just a straight shooter. So if somebody wants to do that, I guess they certainly can.
Well, we'll see if you correct that today on American Ground Radio. And how did y'all get a gig in the Big Apple? Weren't y'all up there?
Yeah.
We certainly were. Yeah, no, that was that's certainly very, very exciting. Those folks, New York is a very big place, and we were just thrilled to be there and broadcasting from right there on Broadway and Wall Street, and got to meet Joe Piscopo. For some of the older listeners, they know exactly who that is, and he's still going strong.
Okay, let me give you a minute, because I'm so thrilled that you started out right here with your butt in one of these very chairs. How many stations is American Ground on now?
I think we're up to 49 now.
Nationwide.
Nationwide.
Wow.
Conservative talk and just shooting it straight like you guys do.
Yeah, and, you know, I think, Aaron, you deserve much of that credit, very frankly. We came to KEEL, said we wanted to do a 3-hour show on the 4th of July, had no idea what we were doing, and you started listening to some of the show recordings, because we were doing the interviews and recording them, and then you could go in and listen to the raw footage. And you came to us and you said, hey, what do you think about doing this every day? I'm like, I don't know anything about doing this every day. What are you talking about? I've got a job. I've got everything else going on. And here is Aaron McCarty saying, would you like to do this every day? And we took the bait, and the rest has been history.
And I caught a big fish.
Well, I don't know, but thank you so much for not only what you did for us in encouraging us and inspiring us, but for the lifetime of work that you have done for this community. And I mean that sincerely.
Well, Louis, we can't thank you enough. And good topic this morning. I knew you would know the answer, and you sure did, and I really appreciate it. Louis Avallone, American Ground, thank you for your time, sir.
You're very welcome. Take care.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we're back, and I'm doing this out of respect for our guest host. Okay,
Yes.
I'm not.
It's rare I get respect. So
I bet that's true.
So hey, after that, I may as well go home. The week is made. I'm getting respect on the air. Wow.
John Settle, who's the owner of Focus SB and the Inquisitor, guest hosting today. We hadn't had you in a long time, and I thought, you know what, you do a lot of hard work about what's going on inside. So, but he brought in Coke flavored Oreo cookies.
Coca-Cola Oreos. Now I'm scared. I am.
Describe how it looks.
It's one side is red and it says Coca-Cola on it, and the other side is black and it says Oreo.
Regular Oreo.
And it's not double stuffed because you know I hate double stuffed for those.
Too much stuff.
Yeah. And who was the one texting me? They love double stuffed Oreos.
I think it was William Bradford.
Yes.
He keeps up better than we do.
Yeah, William Bradford forgets you. Well, I love you. I love you because of the Saints.
You could see he's been eating a lot of double stuff.
Oh, ouch.
God.
Well, I'm going to take the first bite.
So it smells like Coca-Cola a little bit.
It does. Here I go. Don't tell anybody I was eating in here, okay?
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, that is weird.
That's weird. That's too
it's
weird.
I wish it tasted like milk and
chocolate
Oreo.
milk would be good. Chocolate milk would be good.
I hear it's a Mexican thing, though.
Is it a Mexican? This is not a Mexican thing.
I think it is a Mexican thing.
What? Chico from 94.5, she's here. We got about a minute.
We got Coke-flavored Oreo cookies.
Try one real quick.
Oh, I've tried the Coke.
Yeah, this tastes
tried
funny.
Coke? You snort the Coke?
Hey, no.
Hey, whoa. Listen, only 2 times.
So you've tried it before that?
Yeah. No, hold on.
Nah, these are too weird for me.
That is weird. No.
I
Don't spit it out in her studio.
don't know how to feel about this.
I don't feel
You know
good.
what it tastes like? Listen, I love Coke. I love Oreos.
It smells like Coke. Smell it.
Yeah.
I mean, Coke in a bottle.
Do you know what? Last time I did Coke was with you, so. So, but you know those really cheap snacks that you have that you're just like the off-brand snack?
Yes.
That is the feel I get for these.
Yeah. That's
Oreo,
true.
you're better than this.
Okay. We have one quick question for you. Have a minute.
Yeah.
What are the 3 branches of government?
Okay, it's the Alpha, the Omega, and the... Wait.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Government? Mija, I don't even got my papers. What makes you think that I know what a government is? I'm a girl that avoids... I avoid seeing the coppers at all costs. I avoid the government at all costs.
And how long has Judge Judy been on the Supreme Court?
Oh, my girl's yeah. She's going to win it all. Next governmental question.
We're done.
Listen, I'm an expert. You got anything else you want to know? No.
If she's an expert, we are in a sinking boat. Welcome to the Titanic this morning.
Listen, have you seen politics lately? Baby, I'm as good as it gets.
Sheriff
I'm
Henry.
the best option you got, baby.
After 7 o'clock, Sheriff Henry Whitehorn is going to join us. Lots of questions to talk to him about. That is coming up right here on KEEL. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty on this Monday after the Saints-Cowboys game. Mike was at the game, so he is taking today off. He will be back with us tomorrow. He's going to join us, be back for his regular job. He's not one of those Cowboys fans calling in sick. No, he is enjoying his time with his daughter and celebrating his birthday. John Settle is joining us this morning. He's going to guest host, and we have a special guest who's just arriving in the building, Caddo Parish Sheriff Henry Whitehorn. He has been sheriff since July 1, and he is in deep finding out what's going on down there, what are the priorities, etc. And he is just walking in the building. I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you. Good to be here with you.
Okay. Pull that mic real close to you.
All
and
right. Can you hear me better?
Yes, that's good. And I do want to tell you, John Settle is filling in for Mike because Mike is celebrating the Cowboys-Saints game. He was in Dallas, and was a Saints fan and celebrated his birthday. Now, Saints Cowboys for you?
I'm a Saints fan.
Okay, you can stay.
Okay.
All right. Were you at the game?
I watched part of it.
Okay.
I was busy yesterday.
Pretty exciting. It was pretty exciting. Let's start off with you, Sheriff Whitehorn, with the millage that I have been told, and you have put out some information that you are planning to roll the millage forward, which would bring in a little more money for your department. Explain the decision to do that, why you think we need to do that.
Well, we've already voted to roll it forward, so that's done. We did it because it was the necessary thing to do. It was the right thing to do. One of the things that I learned when I took over in looking at the budget was the fact that our expenses were not keeping up with our revenue. And you know, when you look at the overall budget for the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, it's not a very large budget. $77 million is not a lot of money considering the budgets that I've been working with in the past. And to know that we're not keeping up with those, the revenue is not keeping up. And you look at some of the other departments that are also looking at rolling forward. Bossier just rolled forward, Bossier Sheriff's Office. You know, you have the commission coming up on their vote. You've got the Port Commission coming up with the vote. So it's not just the Sheriff's Office. Everybody's looking at the expenses. Things have increased over the years.
How much does it bring in for the Sheriff's Office rolling
About
it forward?
$1.2 million.
Okay, and you will be using it specifically for?
To maintain operations mainly, and hopefully be able to provide some sort of pay raise for our employees, similar to what Bossier did.
There's been some discussion about, John Settle is here, I'm sorry, the surplus that the Sheriff's Office has. Why do we roll the millage forward if we have a surplus? I want you to address that.
We have a fund balance. When you talk about surplus, a lot of people believe that we have a large surplus. You have to understand the way the Sheriff's Office budget is, and I'm learning this myself as I go forward, is there's a certain amount that we collect at the end of the year on taxes. That money has to take us throughout the year. And so when people look at it and say, well, you got this much money, you should be able to operate, well, we're spending that money as well. And we do have some money in investments through LAMP and in Regions Bank to try to help earn some interest, but we're spending that money. And another thing, you know, I was looking at opening up that was work release, now it's transitional work program. And I go and I look at that facility, and I'm thinking I could put 200 inmates in there right away. Can't do it. It's going to cost me almost $500,000 just to get that building back up in operation.
It's run down.
It's run down. Equipment's been taken out of it. Walls have been removed. It's been used as a warehouse. The beds, the bunk beds have been stripped out. I don't know where some of them are at. So we got work that we have to do and take money to do it. The cost for inmates, the meals even, you know, the commission gives us $3.50 a day. The average cost for a meal is over $4.20. So we're not keeping up with our expenses, and so it's necessary. Everything
Were you a little hesitant, you know, in your first 90 days to essentially raise taxes? I mean, you have to think. I
was. I'm a conservative guy too, but I have to look at running that operation, providing the safety and the services that the community have asked me for and that they deserve to have. And so we have to do things a little differently to make sure that we're taking care of that. And, you know, I ran on a platform of crime prevention, building programs for our youth to keep them out of trouble. And it takes money to do what I've said I was going to do.
I saw a piece where you were talking about the fund balance. I'll use your words because that's probably more accurate. That it really was for unfunded vacant positions. That much of that money.
Much of it.
So you're going to fill them all then, right?
I'm going to do my best.
How many are we short? How many
threatened.
deputies do you need as we sit here today?
I've got over 100 vacant positions throughout the sheriff's office. That's administrative deputies and criminal deputies and correction deputies.
Wow.
And so we're doing all we can. We've got a robust recruiting plan that we're pushing out here shortly. And so, it's sad that in this area we have to cannibalize other departments, so to speak. Everybody is fishing in the same pond to try to get these employees that we all need. And so we're trying to reach out and do some unique things. I should be rolling that plan out very soon to try to reach some of these universities that has criminal justice programs. I'm hoping that the Explore program that we bring in will help create a pool long term where we have qualified applicants readily available.
What's your minimum age at the sheriff's department now?
It's 21.
Okay, so
18 for administrative.
Okay,
and,
so you can't have an 18-year-old who wants to go to the academy at this point.
I've changed that. No.
Okay.
We was having some problems with that, and it's kind of difficult to put in my mind an 18-year-old in an environment with those hardened criminals and expect them to succeed until we prepare them.
Sheriff Henry Whitehorn, can you stay with us? I want to talk about when you opened the door to the jail to let all the inmates out. Can we talk about that when we come back?
Do we have to?
That's coming up right here, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
And welcome back. Caddo Parish Sheriff Henry Whitehorn is in studio with us. John Settle filling in for Mike Martindale, who's celebrating the Saints win. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad we had the sheriff. He's done so many positive things in 75 days. I've got a long list.
Yeah, we got a lot to get to. I want to first get the jail overcrowding problem discussed. There was a backlog in the jail. There's still a backlog in the jail. Lots of problems with the court system clogging it up. Lots of problems, too, with state inmates being housed there. What are you doing? What's been happening? You have not opened the doors and let people out, have you?
No, ma'am.
And that's not going to happen?
That was never the plan.
Okay, so where are we on overcrowding?
So we're working with the district attorney's office. We're working with the judges. We're working with DOC. Trying to figure out a solution. We're working with the Criminal Justice Committee, Tim Magner and his group, trying to figure out a solution. One of the things that we learned was the backlog was due to some digital evidence and being able to timely get that digital evidence to the courts. Without the evidence, they can't process discovery. They can't get the inmates into a trial. And so we're working with SPD, we're working with our folks, trying to make sure that we have a good process in place to make sure that the indigent defenders, the defense counsel, and everybody else receives that digital evidence timely. That's the main backlog. And I think that's about a 10-month backlog in itself. DOC, we're working with them. They've been able to take prisoners as they get processed and transfer them into another facility.
Can you say no to the state? No, I'm not going to house your inmates.
Yes, I could.
You can?
Yes.
But then they would release them into our community? Is that essentially kind of what would happen?
No, they'd find another facility to put them in.
Is that something you've thought about?
It's something I've thought about, but I've also thought about opening my work release program, that transitional work facility, that should be able to hold about 200 inmates, and it's going to take roughly $500,000.
How long before you'll have that up and going?
Like I said, it's going to take about $500,000 to get that facility back in shape, and also finding a place for the nonprofit to house their equipment that they have in there right now. But we're working on it. I'm hoping within the next year to have that up and running. We're also hoping that within the next year, all the software and hardware, digital equipment will be in place to reduce that digital evidence backlog. We're optimistic that this thing is really working. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take us some time, but we're working toward that.
Another issue is you're having to house juveniles, aren't you? And that's
yes, sir.
That's taking up space.
It's taking up some space, not that much, but we're working with the juvenile courts and housing those individuals that need to be housed out at CCC.
There's been some criticism of you most recently for what I'm going to describe as a confidentiality letter. You're asking your deputies and I guess all employees to sign.
I signed it myself.
Why is that necessary? Why are you requiring that?
That's a business practice, and it's been done in the past. A lot of folks are looking at Henry Whitehorn. This is not about Henry Whitehorn. This is about us taking care of business. We've had some information that has gotten out, including some victim information that shouldn't have been released. There's a process in place for public records. And so we want to just make sure our process is followed. We've got sensitive information through NCIC and other avenues that should not be released. And it's just a reminder to our employees that there's a process, follow the process, and let us take care of the requests that come in.
Was that required under Prater? They just didn't do it? They just weren't following up on it, I guess?
I'm not sure if they weren't following up on it, but I know that there was a a confidentiality agreement that was signed under that administration as well. And it's a business practice,
What about a whistleblower who wants to get out information because they're being harassed at work or something wrong's going on, theft is going on, inside? There's still an avenue for that as well.
That can still happen, yes, ma'am. This is not about trying to withhold information of wrongdoing. This is about taking care of our processes and business practices.
You've been on the job almost 90 days now, right? Getting close.
75, I believe.
Okay.
75. I did my math.
What has been the biggest surprise that you have run into?
It's my watch now. And so there's some things that we're taking care of. And, it's not my place to start talking about some of the things that should have been or could have been. We're taking care of business, and we're protecting the public, and we're going to continue to do what needs to be done to ensure that public safety is taken care of in Caddo Parish.
We talked about, John brought up juvenile beds. That is a long-standing problem in our community for finding more bed space for juveniles. Are you working with the parish commission? Are we working on another plan for more bed space for juveniles?
At this point, I'm not looking at additional bed space. There's bed space available if we want to house juveniles. Jackson Parish and other places have juvenile facilities that's available if we need them. Our goal is to stop the flow into our correctional facility.
Intervening with the kids when they're little, younger.
Before they get to a point of we have to incarcerate them.
What kind of programs are you working on with regard to that?
It's sad when we see 11-year-olds having to go to jail because they did something stupid, And so we've got to be able to work with our kids, work with the parents to ensure that these kids understand the consequences of their decisions. When you and I were coming up, and I'm a little older than probably both of y'all.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Not me, I don't think.
But we could do dumb stuff, and the consequences weren't that great. Consequences have changed. And so we have to make sure that our kids understand that there are certain things that they shouldn't do and can't do. Education is the key. And so that's why I had a goal to put an SRO in every high school in Caddo Parish. We've accomplished that goal. I do want to continue moving through our middle schools and other schools. I had some requests. I had a request just last week from a private school that wants an SRO. And so we're working to make sure that we've got avenues to help our children. Some of the programs I want to do is an Explore Post, a police Explore Post program. I went through that program at a young age in St. Louis, Missouri, and I think it had some it helped me develop into the man that I am today. And so I want to do some of that unique program here in Caddo Parish as well.
Sheriff Henry Whitehorn, thanks for coming in. We'll do it again soon, I hope.
Soon.
Okay.
All right.
You heard it. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I am back. John Settle is in, co-hosting. Mike Martindale's off. Thanks for coming in.
We're having a great time.
Yeah.
I may, apply for the job out here.
Oh, okay. It's not open at the moment, but you never know. You never know.
Okay.
One of us might trip and fall, because have you heard the new research? Over the past 15, 20 years, dog walking related injuries have been on the rise among adults and children. Fractures, sprains, and head trauma. Do you know why? I'll give you 3 guesses.
People are texting on their phone while they walk.
Walking their dog, and they're on their phone. They're looking at their Facebook, they're texting, and then they trip and fall over a curb or a bump in the sidewalk. And that's why people are getting hurt.
And Martindale walks his dog all the time.
So
The
Martindale
mean
could
dog.
trip and fall and bonk his head, and then we have an opening. You never know. I'm just saying.
I don't want to wish that on him.
No,
you know?
I don't.
He may win the lottery ticket that you always are trying to get.
You got a point.
Yeah, so then
I just found that interesting. More and more people are tripping and falling, bonking their heads, walking their dogs than ever before, and it's because of the cell phone. We'll see people walking in this hallway looking at their phone. They're going to bump into something every time it happens. Anyway, when we come back, master planning for our community, for Shreveport, for Caddo Parish. Are we doing it right? What do we need to do better? Lavette Fuller, they had a big meeting this weekend. She's going to tell us what happened and where we go from here. We will have her on next, right here on KEEL.
Stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
And welcome back. Mike Martindale out today. I've got my buddy John Settle in studio. Thanks for being here.
Having a great time with
Yes.
these Oreo cookies that taste like Coke.
Nasty. Let's put them in the kitchen. Let's
see how many. Well, you got to save
coworkers-
one for Mike, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mike can't have that. He's diabetic.
Okay.
Lavette Fuller is joining us on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Good morning, my friend. Appreciate you joining us.
Sure, good morning. Y'all couldn't find any pumpkin spice Oreo cookies?
Well, not yet, but
No.
maybe if you find them, you could bring them up here.
Well, I've got this one person, this one super liberal person that keeps taunting me on social media since back in July with pumpkin spice everything. And I'm like, it's too hot to talk that way. I know I'm here for a reason. I know.
Well, is it really true that you're Cedric's going to hire you to be the number 2 at DDA?
I don't know. Y'all play too much.
Well, no, actually, there is an opening down there.
people.
The head of the parking, Monica, has taken a new job, so there is an empty desk down there.
Oh, gosh. Stop it.
I have a job, but I saw some very important people out at Behave today, and that meant not even mentioning yesterday's football game, Go Saints. But now y'all have already got me on the back foot. I'm not behaving at all. This
Sorry
is all
about
y'all's
that.
fault.
Master plan update. We haven't updated it in, 10, 12 years? I'm not sure how long. Explain to people who don't even know what the master plan is. What is this?
It always sounds so like Illuminati to call it a master plan.
Illuminati?
But what it is,
What does that mean?
it sounds like this, like conspiracy theory. It sounds like some big aluminum helmet kind of arrangement. There's like a big nefarious group trying to run the city with a master plan. It's just about land use, but it affects a whole lot of things. A city should be looking several years ahead at all times and deciding what kind of city they want to be for the future and putting things in place that allow them to grow to that plan. So a city doesn't just become an amazing place that's very organized, that has the things that people want in the places they want them by accident. Even cities that have limited zoning like Houston still have some sort of planning in place so they know that they're meeting the needs of the people. What that means is if the people who worked on the original 2030 plan, and that was a lot of people in the community coming together to say, we would like more walkability. We'd like to have more going on downtown. We don't want to see so much sprawl. And so by taking all of the things people said, even things like dog parks were in that original plan for 2030. What you're supposed to do after you put the big plan together that says all the things that the community wants is start putting things in place that allow you to get to that point. So there should be like an overall vision for a city. What happens is you say you don't want too much sprawl. You say you want to have a great downtown. You say you want walkability, but then you don't make it possible, and the people who do all the building are going to just follow the market because there's nothing else indicating where things should go, and you end up with a sprawl and less walkability.
So does a master plan just sit on the shelf? It was pretty. We spent, I don't know how many thousands to do it, and we haven't implemented anything in it? Have we implemented anything in the master plan?
We've tried, and some things we've done okay with, and things like the dog parks did kind of happen. We do have a few things in place. We've tried to put in a few bike lanes. We tried to do a few things that would help with walkability, but we haven't gone, as the kids say, we haven't gone that hard at it. Instead, we've mostly let it sit on the shelf. That's the reason for this update. The update was supposed to be a check-in. It's not a whole new plan, but it's a check-in to say, have we done what we said we were going to do, or were we actually lying to ourselves when we said we wanted these things? So one thing that did come from the master plan is that we do allow chickens inside the city, and we have rules in our code that tell you how you can have a chicken coop. I think there's a few other little things like that, but there was honestly a big push for it, and I kind of joke about it. It's like, did anyone else who had an idea for the city show up at the master plan meetings outside of the ladies that wanted their chicken coops? Did anybody else show up?
Well, are y'all going to address the liquor stores? Because that's getting to be a hot issue at the city council, and how many places can sell liquor. And I don't get to go to Whole Paycheck, but I understand they have a vending machine that sells fists of high-end liquor, a liquor vending machine in Whole Foods. So are y'all going to talk about the proliferation of alcohol retail establishments in the parish?
Now it's going to be the city, not the parish. But remember that the MPC kind of split boards. So this is just looking at what happens inside the boundaries of the city. And you know they did take away that physical separation thing. I want to roll back a little bit, though, y'all. So what they've done right now is they've started this process on Saturday of these community meetings. And instead of it being a sit down where a bunch of people raise their hand and ask questions or talk about just the problems in their neighborhood, it was interactive. So from 9 to 12, people could come through, they could walk through this presentation and then answer questions in an interactive way where one section was a survey where you put dots next to the things that you thought were the most important, or the things that you thought that the city on a scale of 1 to 10 kind of, we're doing really well at this, we're not doing really well at that.
What kind of turnout? How good was the turnout?
I would say that for a Saturday with so much going on, it was good turnout.
When's the next one, Livette? When's the next one people need to know about and can go out?
It's going to be in October, and here's the thing. I don't know that there's anything on the city's website. I didn't see anything before, but I'm sure there will be now. The city, the MPC websites, and their Facebook pages, and there's a website called One Shreveport that's dedicated just to this, where people can fill out the survey online. They can answer the questions online to participate. The next one will be in October, and then there will be one in November or December.
What are you?
Don't get me to lying.
What are you? I mean, you were at the meeting Saturday, I assume. What are you hearing people say? What are they most interested in doing for our future?
I think that a lot of the participants are looking at the future for walkability still. I think people want to see all of our inner city neighborhoods thrive. And this is something that I want to say about the participation. The last thing you could participate in was putting a pin on the map, putting several pins on the map of where you live your life and go to work and where you do your shopping. Whatever it is you do, show us where you spend most of your time in Shreveport. The area that had no pins was basically the Queensboro area. So the participation in the city was mostly from like Cooper Road, then east of I-49, downtown, all the way down to pretty much Ellerby, and then Southern Hills, and then a little bit out in West Shreveport, Pines Road, between the lake and probably south down to Burt Coons. So when we talk about participation, there were a lot of people there, but that little hole there indicates that those people either were not outreached to or felt too disenfranchised by how many times we've claimed we were planning and then they didn't see anything from it.
When we do finish the updates, whose job is it to implement the suggestions made, and who follows up to make sure that it's implemented? Is there any of that?
I love that this is the question because you're helping me not ramble too much.
Thank goodness.
I don't think that.
Ouch.
Dawn,
Behave down there.
Behaving today. Like, is the reason you don't want to go to the Whole Foods is across the street from that other place?
Whoa!
The people who are supposed to work on this should be inside the MPC, but it's going to take all of us. There used to be a master plan administrator. The master plan administrator's job was to look at every single application that was coming through and make sure that it was actually in line with what we said we wanted in the master plan. Now, that was before the Unified Development Code. The Unified Development Code is supposed to be mostly informed by what we said we wanted in the original master plan. But there was a huge gap between when we finished the plan and when we got the code in place, and it doesn't really indicate where we say we want to do things. If we say we don't want sprawl, then why have we basically made Fern and 70th Street our new downtown, and then we have all of this annexation happening all the way out to Southeast Shreveport? And if that's what we really want based on what we've done, then we need to go ahead and reconfigure and realign our master plan to indicate what we're doing, but also to mitigate infrastructure harm. Because once you say you have a plan, you should be updating your infrastructure in the areas you said you wanted to live. Mm-hmm. So our downtown area, Highland, Broadmoor, Cooper Road, Cedar Grove, Western Hills, those are the people that participated. So it seems like we need to be looking at our infrastructure in those areas to entice developers back into those areas to get the kind of city we say we want.
Gotcha. We're up against the clock here.
Okay, a master plan administrator would help with that, but also voting in the people that are going to appoint the right kinds of people to the Metropolitan Planning Commission. Mm-hmm. So if you have the right administrators in place, if you have the right board members in place, and then the people have to keep showing up at the meetings and saying, we said what we wanted, y'all need to give us what we want.
Levette Fuller, thanks for your time.
I put in the application for you.
Have a good one.
EDA parking administrator.
Take care. Dr. David Guzik with LSU Health. They're going to take over the Sears building. He will explain why. That's coming up after 8 on 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Welcome back. John Settle is in for Martindale. Chica from 94.5 is here, and we're having a moment of silence in your honor.
I know it, and she wants all of these Coke-flavored Oreo cookies.
Turn her mic on because...
What? Moment of silence for me?
Yeah.
Oh, Cowboys.
Yeah, you're a Cowboys fan.
Dude,
you were at the game.
It was...
It was a beat down.
It was a butt spanking.
I drove, and of course, my guy is a hardcore Saints fan, right?
So you're wearing the blue star. He's in the fleur-de-lis.
He's over here, and he keeps yelling, "Who dat?" If I hear somebody yell that at me, I'm going to freaking throat punch him today. I'm not a woman of violence. I've always felt like we could talk it out. And we'd be driving around. We were in the most random places yesterday, like after the game, and you just hear people screaming out the car, "Who dat? Who dat?"
So this is still your man, and he's a Saints fan.
No,
Well, what?
I don't think he's my man after yesterday.
Okay.
I had a
So
moment.
besides age, 30 to 40, and white, he's got to be a Dallas fan. So.
It's because I need my papers. Anybody that is born here,
How miserable was it, though? I want you take me in the
Truly, guys,
stadium.
let me.
How miserable was it?
There was so much. It felt like a family reunion walking up there, right? Like it is just you're walking up and everyone's like, hey, like ooh, like you know we're taking shots walking up there. It is just everybody's tailgating, and we find our seats, and you know we had $1,000 seats.
You're like on the fifth row,
$1,500
yeah,
seats.
yeah.
We're 50-yard line. And I mean, we're like in very, very expensive seats. So there was
Chica's got a sugar daddy.
There was that factor, right, of like, oh man, look at us, like we're here, we're
balling.
And then not only did we pay that much to get our butts whooped, right? But I had to drive home. I had to handle and hang out with somebody that couldn't stop yelling and screaming, "Who dat?" Right? Like, I'm telling you right now, it is a hard day for Cowboy fans.
What was it like inside the stadium?
You need to go to Ursula Bowman.
Loud.
It was loud?
Loud. It was goodness.
Did the Cowboys fans shut up?
There, didn't they?
It was a lot of Saints fans.
Yeah.
Did the Cowboys finally shut up after a minute or two of getting their butts whipped?
No, we carried on. Actually, no, I'm lying. People left in the fourth.
They were gone?
Yeah. I looked around. It was a ghost town. And it was just a bunch of black and gold, and it was so the ugliest sight I've ever seen in the AT&T Stadium.
Well, we're sorry for you today.
Thank you. If y'all could send prayers, tissues.
Okay.
I actually use $100 bills as tissues.
I got one more thing to say to you.
Monday.
Who dat?
I'm gonna freaking drum punch you. I swear, Aaron McCarty. What I tell you.
Bye.
Sir.
Happy Monday, Saints fans.
Yes.
Happy call-in sick day, Cowboys fans.
That's correct. Are there any Cowboy fans around right now? Well, they're hiding.
They're hiding. I think they are hiding.
I bet so.
John Settle is in for Mike Martindale, who was at the Saints-Cowboys game yesterday celebrating his birthday with his daughter, and he's probably still celebrating. So you're filling in. I appreciate that a ton.
Great. Yeah, I'm having a good time.
We have a really wonderful guest joining us right now on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, Dr. David Guzik. Am I saying that right, Doc?
That's close. That's good.
Okay. You are Chancellor LSU Health, and I'm hearing this incredible news that you guys are actually going to take over the old Sears building at Mall St. Vincent for a medical facility. Explain the plan.
Yeah, the plan is to revitalize the mall and take care of some patients and do some research.
What kind of hospital will this be? What kind of medical facility will it be?
It mainly was motivated by the fact that we're running out of research space, but we also need clinical space as well. So essentially, we've been recruiting faculty for our laboratories, but we have one laboratory research building that we project will be running out of space in a year and a half, 2 years. And the prospect of having a state building in that time frame, basically the probability is pretty minimal. So we needed to look for other options, and there was the Sears sitting there.
Well, that's a great use of that facility because it's been sitting there so long. Are you going to leave the escalators there?
Yeah, that's a great question. We asked that ourselves. I guess that's up to the architects, But I'd love to leave if they're working, or I'd love to leave the escalators there and have the researchers kind of go from floor to floor. Good collaboration.
How much money is this going to cost? Where is it coming from? And how much work do you have to do on the building?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we were looking at a 50,000 square foot research building, and to build it from scratch, we were getting estimates that would cost $100 million. It's a very big project. This building is 160,000 square feet, and it's being purchased by our foundation, the LSU Health Shreveport Foundation.
How much?
Which is $3.5 million for the whole thing. Now, I should mention the LSU Health Foundation, the nice thing about that from the standpoint of getting it done quickly is that it is a private entity, and although its sole mission is to serve LSU Health Shreveport, our campus, because it's a private entity, it can be more nimble in the marketplace. So basically, with funds that have been donated by individuals in this community to support LSU Health Shreveport, the building was purchased at a very low price. You can do the math. It's about $1 a square foot. And it comes with 800 parking spots. And there's also a number of the retail outlets in the mall that's close to the entrance is included as well. So the just to get the shell is pretty amazing. And just to explain a little bit, modern labs are research benches one after the other. They're not enclosed by four walls so that researchers can collaborate, and then you can expand or contract a given lab, by adding or subtracting benches as the grants come in or basically, end. And so what is an empty department store? It's nothing but, wide open space, and you can just, basically design those labs to go right in there without having to do a lot of interior design work. So basically, to build it out, it's probably for the lab part, $500 or $600 a square foot. We'll build out probably initially about 50,000 square feet. And then on the clinical side, which you asked about initially, those will be outpatient facilities, not a hospital. We're looking at the possibility, this isn't written in stone, the possibility of orthopedic sports medicine and rehab, possibility of ophthalmology, possibility of cardiology, and so on. So it'll partly, the part that's facing the mall, in other words, the part that's interior as you walk down that kind of hallway between the Dillard's and the Sears, that entry point will be the clinical part. And then if you go to the Southern Avenue side of the building, that entrance will be to the laboratory part, which will be most of it.
Well, how soon do you expect to have any researchers in that facility?
Well, it takes a while to build this kind of building. It would take many years more if we had to go through the state. But this way, we're going to put it up for bid to the architects to try to get architects that capture, what we're looking for in terms of a modern facility, both for the lab and clinical. Within a month or two. And then once we name an architect, I think it probably will take them 6 months or so to do the design, maybe a little longer, and then construction. So I would say it'll be about a 2-year process.
And do you have all the funding, or does the foundation have all the funding for the build-out that is needed for the clinics and for the research facility?
Yeah, that's a great question. When health, like hospitals, build a building, they typically don't use cash. They typically sell bonds and then pay the bonds back. And we're sort of doing a similar thing. The foundation, through conduit financing in the state, will be issuing bonds for whatever the cost is. Let's say the total initially is $50 or $60 million. And then the foundation will lease it to the medical school for the researchers and will lease it to our Oxnard LSU Health System partnership for the clinical space. So it's basically a bonded facility with collateral from the foundation, and then we'll simply pay back the foundation across time.
Let me ask you this. We're talking with LSU Health Chancellor, Dr. David Guzik. When we first started talking to you, you used the term revitalize the mall. Do you think that this project could actually entice other entities to come into that mall? Is that part of the hope?
We're hoping so. We had the mayor at our press conference, and that's what he expressed. And I think it would, because we would have, kind of a building buzzing with people, and they need to have a coffee shop and some other shops, and we're hoping that it would revitalize the mall. One of the things an academic health center does in communities is it can serve as an economic engine. The one closest to Shreveport that is, a prime example of how it revitalized an entire community, not just a mall, is UAB in Birmingham. I'm going back a few decades, but Birmingham was a lot like Shreveport. There really isn't another academic health center if you look for a couple hundred miles around Birmingham. We have the same situation here, and so we're hoping that this could be the start of that process.
How many new jobs do you foresee this creates? Once everything's up and going, say within 2 years or so?
Yeah, it would be hundreds and hundreds of jobs. Each researcher comes with a staff.
Wow.
And the clinicians, as clinical practice grows, they hire staff. In one case, it's sort of a technical scientific staff. In another case, it's clinical staff. Many of those people, most of the researchers will be from outside of Louisiana, probably. And so they're bringing in families, and their staff have families, and so on. So it would. I can't say exactly, but it would be in the hundreds.
So it's not moving people from the existing facility into this facility for the most part.
Oh no. Again, what you correctly asked about the financing is if all we were doing is moving things from A to B without it being incremental, then we really couldn't pay for it. The payment for the clinical facility has to come from incremental clinical dollars. Payment for the research facility is from incremental research dollars. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we are running out of research space. We do plan to recruit significantly more researchers, so they will all be incremental.
How many students or residents of doctors in training do you have at the LSU Health Science Center or the medical school?
Yeah, that's a great question. Medical school is about 150 a year, so that's 600. We have a graduate school of another 100, and a School of Allied Health, several hundred more. So there's well over 1,000 students, and residents. We have about 600 residents. So when you add it all up, there's a lot of teaching of the next generation of scientists and healthcare providers here.
Dr. David Guzik, LSU Health Chancellor. Thanks for your time, sir. I know you're busy.
Oh, it's my privilege. Thank you.
All right,
you bet.
Thank you much.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Oh, Chica just ran out of the room again. Wonder why. Huh. We're going to talk Cowboys Saints.
We sure are,
Oh man, and I'm a big Saints fan. I like the Cowboys too. I'm not going to say I don't. But when it's the two of them together, I'm a Saints fan. And the Saints look good.
They look great. It's they didn't do much wrong. Let's put it that way. That's for sure. And everybody was bragging about how good the Cowboys' defense was last week, about how great Zimmer was and all that. And defense just laid an egg,
Yeah.
I mean, big time.
It's a real struggle for the Cowboys with that defense. It really is. It's the Saints' offense is just almost unstoppable. And,
they were stopped a lot yesterday. I mean, only scored how many points? 19?
19. The Cowboys got stopped. The Saints, they couldn't stop the Saints at all.
No.
I mean, it was just completely going wild with the offense, with the run game, with the pass game. Everything was working. And, we all have lots of people we know who were in the stands. Our Mike was over there in the stands.
A lot of people are not going to admit they were there, though. I mean, a lot of Cowboy fans probably said, "No, I wasn't there."
Oh, I missed it. Yeah,
I missed it. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Did they play?
And if you watched it on TV, you saw the Cowboys fans vacate the premises. In the fourth quarter. I mean, they were gone. They were so leaving. And I tried to I don't know if you follow William Bradford, who former city attorney, now works at SWEPCO, but he puts up a weekly Why I Hate the Cowboys Facebook post.
Well, That's why he's hiding today.
No, he really hates the Cowboys. He loves the Saints.
Oh, okay.
And he rags all the people in town that love the Cowboys. And I was trying to get him on just to let him gloat a little bit. And he said, oh, my, of all the times to be unavailable. He's walking into a meeting at 8:30. And he said, oh, my goodness, of all the times to be unavailable.
Well, maybe you could get him tomorrow. You know?
We might. We might let him glow with Mike tomorrow.
Yeah, they could take, that'd be an hour right there. Just walk down the hall.
Maybe we'll get Curtis Joseph to come in, and he'll wear a Saints jersey. Somebody who knows him, let him know.
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't think he'd ever do that. He's a major Cowboys fan, and he's one of the guys that Bradford rags all the time.
Oh, I could imagine. They practice law together and everything.
We are going to, when we come back at about 8:40, we're going to go through John Settle's list of all the things he's watching in government, Shreveport, Bossier, in the area. He's keeping an eye on everything that is brewing right now. And we're going to go through that list when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now for breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, real quick segment here before we get into John's list of things he's watching. I ran across something, you might have heard it in the news this morning. It's kind of shocking.
Well, Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court.
No, she's not.
Oh, come on.
She's not.
What I learned at KEEL today.
10% of college graduates. This is college graduates. 10% of them think Judge Judy is on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Where do they go to college?
I don't know. And a third of American adults cannot name the three branches of the federal government. 1 out of 3 people you meet today cannot name them. Ruben, you were able to name them.
I named them earlier.
I'm very proud.
Can I name them again?
Let's see. Can you do it again?
Legislative.
Yep.
Judicial. Yep. Executive.
Look at you.
Okay. All right.
We tried it with Chica.
I had to dig into the high school brain for that one. It's been a minute since
Chica
I've been
had
asked
no
that.
clue. No clue.
No.
So ask 3 people today the 3 branches of government, and one of them is not going to know.
Now, don't tell me to tell you anything about those branches, because I will definitely draw a blank.
Yeah, and Judge Mathis is not on the Supreme Court either, just a heads up.
No Judge Mathis?
No. Oh, well, I thought he was too.
Or Wapner. No. Wapner,
Jeez.
may he rest in peace. He's not on it either. When we get back, we're going over John Settle's list of stuff he's watching and eyeballing and investigating. You know, he does a lot of muckraking in this town. We will see what he's mucking on these days. That's next. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Mike off today. He'll be back with us tomorrow. I've got my friend John Settle in. He is the owner of Focus SB and the Inquisitor.
That's correct.
And you are let's just be honest. You are a known nuisance. Can I use that word?
Sure.
Are you comfortable with that?
But I was called a muckraker, but
muckraker too. That's good too.
Yeah.
You dig into stuff. I mean, you really do. There aren't too many folks like you left anymore. And I do a little digging. You do a lot of digging. What are you digging into right now? What are you working on?
Well, one, I want to know how these Coke-flavored Oreo cookies are going to fare, but that's not too important.
No.
We have a lot coming up this Wednesday, or tomorrow, excuse me, is the Caddo District Court hearing on the superintendent selection by the Caddo School Board. Mm-hmm. And we'll be looking for a decision on that quickly, and then if there's going to be appeal on that. Now, all this is holding up the hiring of Keith Burton. So that's a biggie, how the court will rule whether or not the school board followed the proper procedure.
That's an open court hearing.
That's right.
Folks can go watch if they want.
Caddo Courthouse, Judge O'Callahan, very good jurist.
Okay.
Another one talking about court cases, the Bossier term limits. They won their case in Bossier District Court. Judge Self said put it on the ballot. The commission, the council didn't. They actually appealed it to the Second Circuit. So we're not sure when the Second Circuit is going to hear the appeal of Judge Parker Self. And that gets also with the timeline, will it get to be on the ballot? So that's a critical thing that we should be looking at. Next Thursday, this Thursday, the Caddo Commission will most likely vote on whether or not to roll forward ad valorem taxes. As we all know, the assessments went up, and governing bodies can either roll it back so that we pay the same, or if they roll it forward, we're going to pay more. And we don't know how that vote's going to go. I know that the commission has to subsidize CCC and the juvenile justice system. So that's going to be a big vote Thursday.
And rolling it forward is only a vote of the commission. It doesn't involve the people, right?
Correct. Just like the sheriff could decide on his own. So that could happen Thursday. The bids on Fairground Field, I believe, will be open this week. And hopefully they come in within the amount of money set aside. I know that the goal of the mayor is to have that cleaned up before Independence Bowl, so we don't get all that riffraff from out-of-town voters. I mean, attendees and sports writers. Yeah,
talking bad about, Shreveport with that dilapidated building within their eyesight where they're parking.
Yeah, and
which is rough.
It is rough. Another one is full payment by Human and Harmony Festival. It's my understanding that they have repaid the Shreveport Fire Department $106,000. They have paid all the building rent for municipal, convention center, expo hall, stage works, and festival plaza. They paid SPAR $12,000, which includes public works and property standards. They were billed $540,000 for security provided by SPD. I know that half of that's been paid, and supposedly the second round of checks is supposed to go out last week, and I'm not sure if all the police officers have been paid that. So, so far, Curtis Fitchton Jackson's being a good guy, a good citizen, paying his bills, and I think that's important.
Let me ask you a question about that, because do we know why the money to pay the police officers was funneled through ASM Global? Do we know why the city didn't handle it?
Well, I think Mayor Tom Arsenault explained that that way it would not be overtime, and so they were paid through AMG. They were paid $65 an hour versus their normal $40 or $45 an hour, and they were working as independent contractors for AMG, and they don't have the overtime issues if they had actually been hired directly through SPD.
Okay.
And I haven't checked yet, but I would hope that he's paid the marshal and the state police and the probation and parole.
Okay, DDA voted Friday unanimously to offer Cedric Glover the job. You're following that too. They'll start contract negotiations. How soon do you expect that to happen?
I would assume pretty soon. I know that somebody's going to be writing a column that will probably go out tomorrow with suggestions on what that contract should be. It cannot exceed 3 years because the DDA tax expires in 3 years. I hope it's a 1-year contract with stringent performance standards.
Like what kind of standards would you put in there if it were you writing it?
I hate to say it, but the selection by Glover, he's not known to be a hard worker, so or an early morning worker. So one, I would require him be in his office 35 hours a week. Two, I would require that he have meetings with the owners of the downtown buildings and some other matters.
Okay. John Settle in studio for Mike Martindale. Thank you for being here. We've got one more segment coming up. I want to talk a little bit about something I haven't told you about yet, so I'm going to surprise you when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Exactly what I'm going to talk to you about, John Settle. John Settle is in for Mike Martindale today. Mike is out. He went to the Saints-Cowboys game, celebrating his birthday, and I'm sure he is still having fun.
Having fun.
Big-time Saints fan. But I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you listened to us discuss the prices of groceries last week.
They're too high.
You are a man of means.
What?
You probably make a comfortable living. Have you trimmed back when you go into the grocery store?
I trim back a lot. No, I mean, and I buy the store brands.
Really?
Yes, and I try not to. I have a list that I take with me, and I almost always follow the list. Now, I deviated from my list when I brought these Oreo cookies that I need to take back for a refund. But I take
flavored Oreos.
Yeah, I take a list and I generally follow it, and I try to stay away from.
Did you do that all the time? Did you used to just go get what you wanted?
I just kind of have it in my brain and kind of figure out this and that, and go buy a produce that I don't end up cooking and gets wasted. But it's you can spend $75 and not get anything to eat.
No protein in your basket. No, very limited.
No.
I don't understand. And then that's what I don't understand, that because you and I make a comfortable living and we've still cut back. I don't understand how people that are working paycheck to paycheck, how are they making ends meet? What are they doing? I know, Ruben, you've cut back.
Oh, but yesterday at Walmart, even shopping cheap, it was damn near $80 for water bottles and dog food. That's all I got.
Wow. I don't know how the people that are working.
And I'm an old grocery store boy from Piggly Wiggly in South Carolina, and so I'm really watch what's happening when they rearrange the shelves, which aggravates the hell out of me. But it's a challenge. I will look to see if something's on sale. They may have a little. I walk the aisle, I'll see a little tag, and if it's something that I will eat, I will buy the extra. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm the guy that splurges on lunch every day. I have white albacore tuna at my desk. So if you ever want to come
really?
Yes, sir. If you want to come over for lunch, we have it right there. I'll give you a pack of.
Oh man, you are trimming costs.
Yeah, a lot of protein.
Because I'm watching the buggies coming out of the grocery stores, and they used to be overflowing. They're not anymore.
Well, you can't afford to be.
They're not overflowing. People are cutting out. And when I went and bought Cascade pods for my dishwasher the other day, and a pack of them was $20, I thought, holy cow. When did that happen? I had a big case of them, so I didn't need them for a while. And now all of a sudden they're $20.
Yeah. We may go back to washing dishes or buying paper plates. I don't know how cheap those are, but
Oh, gosh, I can't even imagine if paper plates, how high those are now.
They're definitely higher. I mean, you can still get the cheap ones, but they're higher than they used to be. Absolutely.
The cheap ones, if you put a biscuit on it, it bends and it falls on the floor.
Yeah, and then the dog's happy.
Yeah.
Note to self, don't feed a dog a biscuit from Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm not going to ttell you why, but just don't do that.
Well, tell us off the air.
I'll tell you off the air. Yeah, I'll tell you off the air. If you want to know on the message board, on the app alert board, let me know, and I'll tell you why you don't do that. But anyway, we got a wrap. We're done.
Oh, my goodness. I'm just starting up.
Time flies. Thank you, John Settle.
I had a blast. Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.